Jacqueline, we are suited and booted. Giddy up, yeehaw here in the city of Houston. And we talk about how the teams got here. How about how the coaches got here, leading their respective teams to this point? Brian Dutcher, a longtime assistant at Michigan under Steve Fisher. They won a national championship together in 1989. They beat Seton Hall. A couple of years later, Dan Hurley attended Seton Hall as a player. He almost walked away from college basketball altogether. He becomes a high school basketball coach. His dad, Bob, is a legend in the state of New Jersey. Of course, his older brother, Bobby Hurley, won 2 national championships at Duke, an icon there. And now Bob Hurley, a chance to add his name in the record books, winning a national championship at UConn. He coached at Wagner. He coached at Rhode Island. And now he's got UConn in a chance to win a national championship. Each of these head coaches different. Each guy grinding their way to get to this position. How would you say that each team embodies its head coach?
Well, for San Diego State, with Brian Dutcher, I've sat in their shoot-arounds before. This is the first coach and only coach, I believe, when I'm calling games during the regular season, that he talks to the media the entire practice because the assistant coaches runs the shoot-arounds. He's so relaxed. I guess it's kind of that Southern California chill. He's got on his flip-flops. He's chilling, and he's cool. And that's the same way he coaches. It seems like when San Diego State's down by 10, the coach looks like they're even, because he empowers his players, he empowers his assistant coaches. His players never really get rattled. Look at the end of that game. Butler, nobody, I was standing next to the San Diego State bench, and you would have thought that this game was tied, because that's how Brian Dutcher leads his team with a lot of confidence, and that's how he embodies his personality.
And you've called some games for San Diego State. You know Brian Dutcher, you know Dan Hurley well as well. And look, Tim, you played Division I basketball, St. John's, Northwestern. You know what the Hurley name means in the state of New Jersey, having grown up in Long Island. If you could play for one of these teams right now, which team, which system would you fit best in?
Well, I would love to play with the guys that can put the ball in the basket for UConn. And for some reason, my storied high school career, my last home game, my high school coach booked St. Anthony's of Jersey City. Like, you would think maybe I got like Little Sisters of the Poor or something. No, Bob Hurley, come on into town, boxing one, we got run out of the gym, all right? But Danny Hurley, it's in the blood. I mean, you talk about one of the best coaches of all time at any level, Bobby Hurley Sr., and now his kids are both big-time college basketball coaches. But you said it best, Hakeem, they grinded their way.
Yeah.
And Danny Hurley said when he took the UConn job, you best get us now. And he knew he could turn that around. The biggest thing for UConn was they got back in the Big East, Coach. That's where they belong. When I was at St. John's, there was great rivalries there. They went to the American. It seemed like they took a step back. It wasn't a fit. When they got in the Big East, they came home.
Yeah, and after they lost in the NCAA tournament last year, Dan Hurley in the offseason gathered Adama Sanogo, gathered Jordan Hawkins, gathered Andre Jackson Jr., said, we need to make a run here. We're going to dip into the transfer portal. We're going to build this roster and make it great. And that's what they've done to get this position. And now here they are playing for a national championship. I don't think anybody expected San Diego State to be in this position, but they're here thanks in part to Matt Bradley, thanks in part to Lamont Butler, hit a big boy bucket, who, my goodness, was unconscious in that moment. And great job by Brian Dutcher not calling the timeout at the end of the game to trust his players. Tim, when you look at a player to watch in this game, we saw Matt Bradley, right, start that last game 4 for 4. He hadn't attempted a 3 since the first round. Is that the player that has to be targeted in this game? Is that the guy you're watching for the Aztecs?
I think there's no doubt about it. He's the most important player, Matt Bradley, and when he's playing at a high level, Coach, they're a different squad. I'll give you another guy to think about, Lamont Butler, because he's been up and down in his scoring. Yes, he made the game winner against FAU, but he only had 9 points in that game. The previous game against Creighton, 18 big points. Why are both of these guys important? Because with Sanogo and Klingon down low, it ain't going to be easy getting directly to the rim. You're going to have to make pull-up jumpers like Butler did in the game winner. You're going to have to make floaters. You're going to have to make threes. The perimeter players for San Diego State, Coach, it's a must. They must play well.
for me, it's Matt Bradley.
Yeah.
Matt Bradley was 1 for 10 from 3 in the tournament, and he got San Diego State off to an amazing start. He scored 9 out of their first 12 points. He was dominant from the three-point line. He made his first 3. He was very confident. He's unorthodox because he's a left-handed player, but he's the one perimeter player on San Diego State's team that can play through the physicality of the UConn defense. I believe he's going to get to the free throw line, especially early in the game, even though, UConn's a very terrific defensive team. Coming into the last game, Sanogo had 101 fouls. Miami didn't really make them pay. So I'm looking at Matt Bradley getting San Diego State off to a good start. His isolation game, his post-up game, and now his 3-ball. He was 4 for 8 from 3, but all 8 of his threes look really good.
You know what was interesting too, Tim? Matt Bradley was not on the floor in that final possession because they were playing defense. Dutcher says, I'm not calling a timeout. They're going to go down and get the game-winning bucket. I mean, that's the trust that Brian Dutcher has on his team as they go 9 deep. You look at UConn, all right? Adama Sanogo, Jordan Hawkins, Andre Jackson Jr. This is a core 3, a big 3 that dominates. And look, you saw Adama Sanogo, right? Miami was said, go ahead, shoot the 3, big man. And he knocks down 2. Jordan Hawkins sets the scene. He's not feeling good, stomach bug, sets the tone with a 3. This team, you're going to challenge us, we're going to come after you.
I mean, Adama Sanogo, every game is showing me something like, I didn't know he had that. Oh, you want to double team him against Gonzaga? I didn't think he has 6 assists in his bag. You're going to back off. I'm going to bang down 3s. Nelly Jr. Joseph, I'm going to point him out because he's a really solid big guy for Iona. And Sanogo literally scored every single time he had the ball against them in the second half. 28 points, 13 rebounds to open up this tournament. And, Coach, in my eyes, by far, I repeat, by far the best player in the NCAA tournament. I know Marquise Noel had an amazing run, but Sanogo, watching him live, it seemed like every time he was going to touch the ball, Coach, he was going to score against Miami.
Yeah, Sanogo was really impressive, and not only knocking down the 3, the one thing that I love about his game, he took the big guy off the dribble from the right corner. That was an impressive move. That was a move like a 6'6" guard. So the guy knocking down 3s, we know he has the post-up game, but the way that he can take players off the dribble in an isolation standpoint for a guy 7 feet tall, very impressive.
Your player to watch is who?
Oh, definitely Jordan Hawkins. Because of his illness situation, fortunately it was a non-COVID related situation. I'm expecting him to shoot the ball even better from the three-point line. He was 3 for 7. This was a guy that made 6 threes against Gonzaga. But I'm expecting him to probably go north of 5 threes tonight. Another day of rest, another couple of days of hydration. Jordan Hawkins is my player to watch, especially early in the game, because I believe San Diego State's going to double and triple team Sanogo.
Well, we talk about San Diego State's defense and how ferocious it is, how suffocating it is. UConn's defense, the last 2 games, held their opponents to season low in points. Think about that. Gonzaga and Miami. Gonzaga, the highest scoring team in college basketball, Miami among one of the highest scoring teams, and they held both of those teams to their lowest points of the season. So you're thinking, where's San Diego State going to get buckets? I don't know. Avery, what's the matchup that you're looking at where this game is going to be won?
Well, the game is going to be won in the middle, specifically with Adama Sanogo and Nathan Mensah. When you look at Mensah, this guy's a 2-time Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Year. 2 times in a really tough conference, and now his job is going to be to slow down what my buddy Tim Doyle says is the best player left in the finals, Sanogo. And because Mensah is so important to San Diego State's defense, they're going to double team Sanogo early in the game because they cannot afford for Mensah to get in foul trouble, even though they have depth on the bench. So this is the matchup I'm watching. And one other thing, the matchup between both benches, specifically Jaden Ledee. Remember, at the end of the game, San Diego State didn't run plays for Bradley. They ran it for Jaden Ledee, even though he was 2 for 6 from the free throw line. 27 big points for the bench in their last game versus UConn 17 bench points. So that's another matchup I'm watching.
See, Avery didn't go to like an Ivy League school, right? He sent his daughter to an Ivy League school, and then he smartened up, got her post-grad degree, Northwestern, same school as me. And what I'm realizing about coaches, he looks at my paper once in a while. He goes like this, what'd you write down there? Because I had the exact same matchup as my key matchup here, and I'll take it even a layer further. Let's do all the bigs. You mentioned Ledee, Arope. So they got Mensah, Arope, Ledee. I've called San Diego State games. Their strength is with their defense and their depth. If they outplay Sonogo and Donovan Klinging, they could win this game. So I think it's going to be really difficult to do. Sonogo has not been stopped by anybody. He's gone up against some pretty good big guys, including a guy named Drew Timme. He almost had a triple-double in that game. But San Diego State has the bodies, and both these teams are really deep. So I think San Diego State's going to have to play its best game of the season just to be competitive.
And when you look at UConn against Miami and you're just watching the game, both of those teams look different. UConn looks so much bigger. Yeah. Not tonight. When UConn walk out of that locker room and they stand toe-to-toe against this San Diego State team, they're going to be looking themselves in the mirror, because you're talking about big on big, and that's why I'm so excited.
Yeah, I mean, this is the best 1-2 punch in terms of bigs in the country. I mean, you got Sonogo who can step out and hit a three, and then you got Klingen in transition on lobs. Come on, man. This is, look, none of us think San Diego State can win this game. Could they if UConn gets in foul trouble? Sure. If we have, let's say, Andre Jackson 2 fouls in the first half, Sonogo 2 fouls in the first half, Hawkins 2 fouls in the first half, then we're talking about maybe an upset. My question to you is, how many points do you think UConn's going to win this national championship by?
Well, first of all, I was 2 for 2 in the Final Four. I was 2 for 2. Ladies and gentlemen. But UConn's going to win this game. They will not cover. I believe UConn's going to win this game 78-74, and they're going to be tested. And I'm not going to be shocked if San Diego State wins this game. This is going to be UConn's toughest test in their entire NCAA tournament in this final game. I've covered the San Diego State team. This team is good, so good defensively, and their offense is coming alive a little bit more. Matt Bradley's going to have a big night. Their bench is going to play well. I don't know if UConn's going to shoot it as well from the three-point line, because this is the same San Diego State team that held Alabama, arguably the best shooting team from three in the country, 3 for 27.
64 points.
Yes.
Here's what I don't see happening. I don't see Dan Hurley at the end of tonight having a press conference going, we didn't have it tonight. We just didn't have it. I don't see that. I don't see him sitting there going, guys, you know what? We came here, we just didn't have it. We blew out all of our opponents by double digits. We didn't have it tonight. I don't see that happening. I'm going to get your pick coming up here as we continue our coverage from Houston, getting you set for the national championship. And, of course, more coverage all day long from Houston here on CBS Sports HQ. And, hey, you want to listen to the Iron College Basketball Podcast, a full breakdown of the national championship. Join Matt Norlander, Gary Parrish on the Iron College Basketball Podcast. Download and follow us today. There are more of us than there are of them.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.